What's going on, YouTube? Raging Kodiak, we got an absolute banger for you. Demonologist recently came out with a patch introducing a 1.5 times multiplier if you solo queue. So you know what that means? We're going to go and try and be the very best.
I wanna be the very best.
Not like that. But we're going to go in and I'm going to show you just what I do when I'm solo playing the hospital, cyclone, or abandoned house. I'm going to show you what I take in first, how I find the room, and the biggest struggle is how I maintain my sanity. Without further ado, let's get after it. Quickly looking at the board here, we're going to be seeing the items that are going to naturally come in with you. As just solo, you don't need to bring in multiple EMFs, you don't need multiple ESGs, you don't need more than one flashlight. So there's only a handful of items that you're going to want to bring in that are going to need multiples. The examples are going to be the crucifix. You're going to want to bring in 2 of those. You're going to want to bring in a max amount of sanity pills, especially if you're playing on hard mode. I bring in at least 1 candle because I hold on to it the whole time. 1 tripod camera, so I set it down. I can look for the ESG. You're going to want a photo camera for one of the steps for the exorcism. And if you are really feeling fancy, you're going to want to bring a Fulu or 2, but you know, that's a completely optional choice. So depending on the map that you choose is really kind of dependent on what you're going to bring in first. Usually on abandoned house or cyclone house, the first things I like to bring in is a flashlight so I can see, the ectoglass because ectoplasm, as you would know if you watched my guide, will spawn immediately once inside. And then I like to bring in the easel because it allows it to have some time to kind of cook and to get going. Now, if I'm going to be playing on the hospital, the number one thing that I will always bring with me and have out is the candle because it lowers your sanity loss. So it'll prevent you from losing your sanity at a very, very fast rate, allowing you to stay in the building a little bit longer because obviously the hospital is one of the largest maps and you're going to lose it. Most times it takes me just shy of 10 minutes to be able to find the room and start getting evidence. Something to monitor on hard mode is your sanity. So sanity is going to be draining at a higher rate because of the higher difficulty. And with the sanity pills, they give you about 15 to 20% of your sanity restored. So you have to maintain them to some degree. Now, my personal preference is I like to use them when I get down to around 70% because then that'll push me up to about the 90 mark. If you start getting below that, 15 to 20% of sanity pill restoration isn't really going to do a whole lot for you. So I like to use them as early on during my investigation era so that when I do get all of my evidence, I'm still maintaining a decent sanity level and I have 2 crucifixes still in hand. Moving on to after you figure out all of the evidence, you know what ghost type it is, and it's now going into the exorcism phase, you should still have maybe 2 sanity pills, both of your crucifixes going into this phase. Your sanity is starting to be kind of low. Obviously, especially if you're in the hospital, that's really going to eviscerate it. But if you've done things right, you should have a lot still into your favor. Now, my piece of advice is start looking for all of your exorcism items that are closest to the ghost room as you can. Get rid of those as early as possible so that if you need to, you will still have a crucifix available to you. So I try and start at the ghost room and work my way away from it. Once you've done all that, you'll be able to get to your exorcism items, get to the fingers or the clocks or the gun. And by that point, you're going to be as far away from the ghost room as possible in order to get the exorcism done, keeping you as safe as possible. All right, well, that's going to wrap up the Demonologist guide on how to be a solo god. So the too long didn't read is candle manipulation to preserve your sanity. Items, which ones you are recommended to buy, which ones you could probably leave at home. Your sanity manipulation and your sanity pills and how to maintain those all the way through. Which way to go when you're trying to track down the exorcism steps and how to go about that in the safest way possible. So hopefully you found some use out of this. And if you have any tips for any fellow solo queue gamers out there, be sure to drop them in the comments below. But until the next one, be good to yourselves, be good to others. Tell somebody that you love them. If you like what you see, be a friend, tell a friend. If not, let's pretend it didn't happen. Make sure you guys are hitting that thumbs up on the video. Comment what you thought of it below, if you found any use out of it, or if you have any tips for the next one. But until then, much love all.